What is going on, guys? It's Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and we are back with another prediction video of what we think is going to come in episode 4 of season 8 of Game of Thrones, the final Game of Thrones season. We've all survived the Battle of Winterfell. In fact, a lot more people survived than I thought were going to survive. And that means that we are setting up for the final 3 episodes of the final season of Game of Thrones. So the show is coming to a close. And as so many people decided to point out after the Battle of Winterfell played itself out, is that the show is essentially called Game of Thrones. And so they fully anticipate that the next 3 episodes are going to be dedicated to getting Cersei out of King's Landing. And there, without a doubt, are a lot of significant plot threads sort of hanging there, waiting to be picked up and explored. So why don't we dive into what I think is going to happen in not just episode 4, but probably 4, 5, and 6, and as the show is going to conclude. While I prepare to do that, go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. We will post a number of great Game of Thrones videos, and you don't want to miss any of them, so make sure you go down and hit subscribe.
We have won the Great War. Now we will win the last war.
So the trailer for episode 4 comes out, and we're told that the living have won the Great War. Like this huge, significant battle from the Night King, who was the real threat, and Jon ran around like Chicken Little, telling everybody the sky is falling and the
Night King is coming.
And don't worry, we have Arya. Arya is gonna just take out the Night King because he's not quite the threat that the show made him out to be.
Arya really is that bitch. Yes, you are, bitch!
Right? No big deal. We've got Cersei. We're gonna go get Cersei out of King's Landing now. And it's Dany who I believe in the trailer says,
now we will win the last war.
Okay, great. You've told us for 3 seasons that the Night King is the real threat and winter is coming and everyone's got to stop worrying about politics because when the dead show up, when the army of the dead show up, it's going to be worse than you've ever seen for one episode that you couldn't actually see. But that's okay. That's okay. We've got Cersei. And in the first few scenes of this trailer that we saw, brightly lit daylight, King's Landing is going to be set in the day, and thank God, right? So I anticipate that episode 4 of this season, although all of these episodes from now on are going to be fairly long. I think they're all going to be in the 80-minute range, kind of like the length of an independent feature. But this one feels like, if any of them are going to be, setting the table, right? There's going to be Night King fallout at Winterfell, especially, as the survivors basically pick up the pieces and figure out what their next few moves should be. You've got Jaime and Tyrion, who are both going to have to dive back into their Lannister nonsense, right? Like they know now they were able to table the difficult feelings they have about their sister in order to prepare for battle in the north. And now that that's taken care of, they have to turn around and figure out what they're going to do about her. Bronn is still out there with his order. We've spent 2 episodes essentially only in Winterfell, and everything that was introduced in King's Landing at the beginning of this season has been on the shelf, as it should be. Like, it was important, I think, for the show, for those 2 episodes, to really explore and let the characters live in the threat from the north. Again, it was resolved quicker than I would have liked, but you guys have told me in the comments how much you disagree with me. Believe me, I've seen it. Bronn has been ordered by Cersei to eliminate her 2 brothers. We may see some of that in this week's episode. We may not. Bronn may still be sort of lingering. Jon now has not been able to talk to Daenerys about what he knows about his birthright, and that's going to complicate things because Dany thinks that she's obviously the next natural person in line to take on the throne, and Jon probably feels like he might have a direct line to it. It's something they're going to have to work out after they stop hooking up. Like, you know, Incest Tour 2019 should not resume just because the Night King and the White Walkers are off the board. But we'll see how that plays out. There's also a lot of predictions that Dany's going to go full Mad King Dany. Or Mad Queen Dany, I guess. That's a prediction that I'm not willing to buy just yet. The other prediction I'm not necessarily willing to buy just yet is that Jaime's going to be the one to kill Cersei. Or at least take her out. That the Kingslayer becomes the Queenslayer. That seems too easy. for a show that doesn't always or normally take the easy route. That usually likes to do misdirection. But in the conversation between Dany and Jon, which is going to involve Sansa, is going to be the state of the North post-Battle of Winterfell. Because Sansa was definitely shy of committing to Dany. And she said, look, the North is going to be free. You know, like it's not going to be necessarily under your realm. And I have said before that I think by the time this is all said and done, there won't be a throne, which means I don't think there's going to be a unified realm. I think it'll be factioned off into divisions and everybody will kind of get their territory. But this is the type of show that sort of subverts expectations every single way. So immediately for episode 4, what I'm going to say is it's going to be one of those character-driven, dialogue-driven table setters where people will be coming out of the wreckage of Winterfell and trying to piece together their next moves. Dany's probably going to want to be aggressive going after Cersei. Jon will probably be the one to convince her of like, look, our army's depleted. We lost the Dothraki. We lost a lot of great fighters in this battle against the Night King. Let's lick our wounds. Let's take some time. But Dany's going to, she's here in Westeros to take over the throne. And I can't see her necessarily slowing down. That'll be a mistake, I would imagine. And maybe Jaime and Tyrion are the ones who also try and step in and say, look, now's not the time. Like, we've been beaten here. We won the war, but we lost some significant battles along the way. And how many other people who are in that rogue army, people like the Hound, people like Brienne, who were willing to get on board with a fight against the dead because they realized the bigger picture threat there, how many of them are going to be willing to help Dany take over the throne? Like, I don't think a lot of them will at all. I think precious few of them will. So I'll be curious to see what direction they go in that one. Arya, too, there's a theory going around the color eyes that she heard about from Melisandre, that she is going to be the one to take Cersei out, too. Will Arya get every major kill on the board? Listen, it's possible, but it certainly would undercut the importance of some other major characters, whether it be Tyrion or Jaime or especially Jon Snow, who, was Jon Snow brought back to life just to be able to take back Winterfell? Was Jon Snow brought back to life for something bigger? I mean, we don't know, but it feels like a lot of the things that he seemed destined to do are going to other people. And that could just be the you-know-nothing Jon Snow theory, of him going into or running out through the course of this show. So we've got a couple days left before we get to episode 4 of season 8. This is now the back half of the season. Now, while I say that this will likely be a character-driven, dialogue-heavy table setter of an episode, those normally don't happen when you get to the final 3 episodes of the season. In fact, the last ones of the season tend to be the one where the big things really happen. And yet the Battle of Winterfell being the biggest thing that we probably saw this season, and people sort of predict we'll probably get one more battle, maybe something outside King's Landing. But again, every time you sort of set your expectations of things that you would think you're going to see here in Game of Thrones, the show sort of takes a hard left turn and shows you something completely different. Or shows you nothing at all, like the pitch dark Battle of Winterfell where nobody knew it was happening. Sorry, faceless editor. You can proceed to rip me in the really funny comments that are either here or here. I'm not quite sure where they fall. So anyway, make sure that you join us back here immediately after episode 4 of season 8. We will run my reaction to it. I will run my commentary and analysis. You guys can agree with me or vehemently disagree with me in the comment section down below, because we only have 3 left to go. So let's have all the fun in the world that we've been having on this binge through Game of Thrones and continue to keep the dialogue going. And make sure you go down and subscribe to our page here at CinemaBlend so you can keep up to date with all of the new videos that we like to post here on the page, entertainment content that you don't want to miss, particularly with regards to Game of Thrones.
You'll rip her out root and stem.